there are so many reasons why I got into teaching.
One of the best things is the light bulb moment.
When you see a pupil suddenly understand something, that's really, really special.
Every child is so full of potential, and the thing that makes me proudest to be a teacher is seeing them realise what they are capable of.
I don't think any other job can give you the same satisfaction.
That's why I chose to teach.
You could get £26,000 tax-free to train. Search Apply to Teach. Selected subjects only, subject to eligibility.
Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You were listening to Gamer Tag Radio with your hosts Godfrey, Pete Rock, Paris, Pasta. Come on. Yeah.
Welcome to Gamer Tag Radio, episode 502. This is your host, Danny, a.k.a. Godfrey, and we have Pete in the house. What's up, man?
What's up? How are you?
What's going on, man?
It's been an up and down. It's been a roller coaster day today for me. So
yeah.
But things are on the up and up. Things are looking good. Everything's looking positive. So I'm just praying. I'm just hoping and praying.
All right, and we also have Patrick.
What's up, y'all? I feel for you, Pete. You're gonna get through this, man. You're strong, man.
Just stay positive.
You do it, man. I have faith in you. But
yes.
Let's talk about some gaming stuff, because there's been a lot that has been going on in the last couple of weeks.
Definitely. Shout out to Paris. He's not here for this episode, but he's going to be in a future episode, which hopefully, if everything goes through, Pete and Paris, they're going to be in London. Can't say for what, but they're going to be there, and they're going to be doing some coverage of some stuff happening over there. I'm excited for that. And I'm recording next week live, New York City. I'm going to be at a CBS radio studio in New York. I'm finally going to meet the whole Play It family over there. And I'm also going to have some special guests, local community members are going to be joining for next week's episode. That's going to be fun. Lots of fun. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. Head over to Gamertag Radio, listen to our past episodes, or head over to Play.it. Make sure to subscribe, share with your friends, spread the word about GTR. Give us a call, 786-273-7GTR. That's 786-273-7GTR. Email us, fanmail@gamertagradio.com. Man, Apple, you got to see the press conference, guys? Apple had a pretty big press conference. They announced a bunch of stuff like, the Apple Watch was this, whatever. And they announced the iPad Pro, which I'm excited for that. I'm probably going to get that. But there was rumors for days, even for weeks, about the Apple TV is going to be a major gaming focus device for Apple more than ever, all this stuff. And I got to see it. I was like, okay, it's similar to the Wii, kind of, with the whole motion stuff. And they showed a couple of games. Like they showed a new game from Harmonix. It's called Beat Sports. And they showed, I believe, another one. It's like a Frogger type game. Can't remember exactly the name of it. But what are your thoughts about this? Because here's the thing. They didn't show this like an actual controller. Because the ones that they showed was like all motion type based games. Motion control games. And this one that I got to see online is from the Still series. It's similar to kind of like the Xbox 360 controller. Because the device Apple TV, it works, I believe, through Bluetooth. You could get like third-party controllers for certain games in the future. Hopefully, they'll add that and stuff in there, man. But what are your thoughts about this device? I don't know if you got to see it or not, Pete or Patrick.
Pete, you want to go first? I am not an Apple guy, but I like the concept, but I'm not a TV watcher, and I'm not I don't want to demean it by calling it not hardcore gaming, but it's just not the style of gaming that I want to do primarily. But for the price point and what I'm seeing in the features, it looks like a really good deal. And it looks like something I'd recommend to like my mom or dad, who, need sometimes, don't like the fact that they can't get access to, Netflix or Hulu Plus because, they can't remember the log information, or I got them Google Chromecast once and they used it once and then lost it. So this seems like more of a straightforward thing that you can teach to somebody. It's got the voice commands. You can use Siri. It's got the physical remote. The interface looks super simple, like, Apple is well known for doing. So personally, this is not for me, but I mean, it looks a lot better than it used to. That's for sure. So I think it's definitely a good transition into a new breed of Apple TV. They're keeping up with their competition for sure.
So I mean, look, this is not a Xbox One killer or PlayStation 4 killer. Like this is just a device, and it's like for like especially for like the TV apps and people want to check out like Netflix and all that stuff, HBO Go, which is cool. And yeah, they added a gaming part there, like as an extra. This is like something for the first time that Apple is working on, because they had the Apple TV, the previous one. It was just strictly for streaming. You couldn't download any apps. Is whatever was available, and that's it. Whatever was available right down the screen. Now, is this gonna be a major device for them that is going to sell a lot of copies? I think so, compared to like Fire TV from Amazon, Google Chromecast, and and even what was the other one, Pete, from Nvidia, the controller, like
the Shield.
Oh, the Shield.
The Shield. That, like, I think that the Apple TV is going to sell more than those devices because it's just Apple. You know what I'm saying?
It's a different framework, total. Just a different way. The Shield, I don't want to say it was a gimmick. It was a way for Nvidia to get away from video card being known as just the video card people, and giving them a chance to step outside of what their standard technological comfort zone. The Apple TV. And at $150, I mean, it's only a $50 price increase. If you are already part of the Apple ethos, where you've got most of your personal content already in iTunes, you've already got, you've got iPhones and iPads and the whole nine through your house. It's a no-brainer. It probably, is it better? Does it provide more than what you're already getting? Maybe the games, maybe the Siri integration, maybe some of those things will start to flesh out as iOS upgrades start rolling out onto the last gen of Apple TV. I didn't spend a lot of time on it because I don't have an Apple TV, and I've run FreeNAS and Plex at the house. So a lot of the things that it offers, I'm already sort of doing. So there's nothing really that it piqued my interest on. The motion control was pretty cool. The ability to talk to Siri and get, either apps or TV shows and being able to tailor it down by voice looked pretty cool. It kind of hiccuped a couple of times on the presentation, but for the most part, it looks fun. I don't know. Again, with the gaming part though, I'm not 100% behind it. I know
because we haven't seen nothing major, because right now it's very, very early. So they showed the Harmonix game, because they've been working on this for a while.
Well, there's the new one from Pound Sand. It's a new company being run by Gary Goodrich. I don't know if I think it's Gary or Greg Goodrich. I'm sorry, I might be butchering the name. He's the former head of the the Medal of Honor series over at EA. He got approached a couple of years ago to create a new game, and this is his first thing. It's I can't remember the name of the game, so unfortunately I can't hand that over to you.
Well, thanks a lot, Pete.
Well, I don't want to say a lie or anything unless you want me to look it up real quick.
It's Greg Goodrich.
Yeah, okay, it is Greg Goodrich. All right, and it's kind of like what happens to your toy figures after you grow up, and it's kind of like a third person shooter, if I recall correctly. Involving like action figures.
Yeah. It's called Fantastic Plastic Squad, by the way.
There you go. It
sounds like Army Men, essentially.
Pretty much. And I have cube orbs with my friends at the office, and I've got like 15 different characters. I've got spawns and characters all over. My friend's got all his stuff. And it's like, what if you could combine the best of those abilities and those characters and make them your own, and what happens to them? And it looks interesting. I'm not going to say it's going to be the next greatest game, but it looks interesting, and it looks like it. I can see kind of where Apple wanted to go, but I'm not sipping the Kool-Aid just yet. I don't think Apple TV was the biggest, like, oh my God, that they presented.
No, you know what it is? I think people were expecting so much on, like, oh man, they're gonna compete with Xbox and PlayStation. No, it's not even about that. Like, here's the good thing though. Those developers that worked on games that got released for the Wii and it was like a failure, they could re-release these games for the Apple TV based on the motion controllers, and they'll be fine. I think they will sell units. I mean, you never know. Yeah. And I think budget-wise, they're not going to be spending so much money. They're just porting the game and putting it on Apple TV. I think it will work.
True.
So,
to me. They're red still on it. Maybe it's good on the Apple TV. There's a lot of Wii games that died horrible deaths because no one wanted to do the waggling thing. But
you know what might work out? You know what might work out that didn't work out on the rest of the consoles? Maybe having Zombie on the Apple TV would work better because it utilizes the motion control.
I could say maybe.
Zombie?
Yeah,
wait, the one from the Zombie U?
Yeah, Zombie U. Remember, it's without the U. Without the U, that is how they marketed it for PlayStation and Xbox. But maybe
I don't see that. I don't see that working for this. It's different, I think. I don't see it. I'm talking about the original Wii P, not Wii U. When I'm talking about those games that came out for the Wii.
Why not? The hardware is functional. It's there. It's possible. Why can't it? Why couldn't it?
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
This is Gamer Tag Radio. Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
But speaking of Nintendo, I'm excited about this, man. Like, I'm not a huge Pokemon guy. Boston, always been a fan for a very long time. But I got to see this new trailer from Nintendo, Pokemon Go. This is the first mobile game ever from Nintendo, because there's been rumors for a while that they were going to work on this. Then they finally announced, yes, we're going to work on games for mobile, and now they show their first one, Pokemon, which makes a lot of sense. It's a big game for Nintendo, and now they're releasing this for iOS and Android. And let me tell you, I got to see this trailer. I got excited for the first time, man.
It was a really good trailer, wasn't it? Like, kudos to their marketing team for pulling that one off, because it started off being really cheesy, and then I was starting to buy into it, and then the Mewtwo scene showed up where they closed off Times Square to film that. I'm like, wow, they spent a lot of money to film that, and it really paid off, because I felt the inner joy of being a Pokemon fan, because it's just that natural energy you have when you find out someone else is also a Pokemon fan. You're like, oh, you like Pokemon too? And no matter what the age gap is, or male or female, it doesn't matter. You instantly vibe, and I was getting exactly that kind of vibe from this trailer. And it's really cool because essentially they're taking the concept that started with that Pokewalker from 2 generations ago. They want you to clip the little pedometer onto you and you level up your Pokemon. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. But now it's all right, now it's Bluetooth. Now it's a phone app. Now it's a lot more stylish. It doesn't look as, let's be honest, it doesn't look as dorky as the Pokewalker did. This seems like a good idea. And clearly it's still very much in the, the R&D early development stages. They haven't really figured out fully what they want to do. Everything we saw was simulated on screen. But the idea is strong. And more importantly, if this can come out with, hopefully we're getting maybe a new Pokemon game next year to coincide with this launch, or maybe shortly thereafter, that would be huge. Because everybody's got, an iPhone or an Android these days. And a lot of those people love Pokemon too. Because let's be honest, most people that buy Pokemon these days are adults. Kids have other fads they're into now. God knows, I don't even know what kids are into anymore. But my generation, we still love Pokemon, religiously. Because it just keeps, honestly, getting better. Because they keep coming up with new cool ways to support it. And this sounds like a good way to do it. Because from what I'm understanding, don't quote me on this, Nintendo, but it seems like they're trying to get Pokemon players to meet each other in the wild. So the whole concept, you haven't watched the trailer, is like, your phone tells you, oh, you need to walk, a certain number of meters or feet over here, and then you can capture a Pokemon, and you can add that to your game, or you can level up. And hopefully I would assume that means that other real-life people are getting that same notification. You might just happen to bump into the same person looking for the same Pokemon you are, and bam, you just start up a Pokemon conversation, and then you can battle, and then you just probably made a friend just like that. That's the kind of stuff that gets me excited. Trade. Like, the kind of stuff that they used to advertise would kill me. They used to advertise, Pokemon and the 3DS in Japan, where everybody has a 3DS and everybody takes it on the train and the subway with them. And then in America, like, you're looked at as being weird if you pull out your 3DS in public. And I hate that. I think this is promoting more of that mentality of, like, who cares? If you're a Pokemon fan, you're going to be doing this and you're going to find other Pokemon fans. And that's awesome. I'm really liking this idea a lot, Nintendo. I want to see more about it.
A couple years ago, I was really hooked on a game that the Google Earth people had come out with called Ingress, which took into consideration real world. And it was kind of like a game where you talked about with the little pedometer where it tells you where, it takes into location, it made people take into account what was physically around them. So the concept of Ingress is, it's, obviously it's designed by the people from Google Earth. So they have a really good idea of how location-based gaming works. So in Ingress, you go and you're supposed to take over art installations, like whether it be like a sculpture or, like a historical, area. And there was a time, and I'm not going to lie, I actually deviated my normal route to work so that I could go around and capture these nodes for Ingress. I would like dip out like in the middle of the afternoon. I would get an alert that like a piece of, like an art installation by my office was starting to get attacked. And I would literally run out, jump in my car and drive down the street and try to stop him from doing these things. And I saw a lot of similarities with Ingress with what Nintendo is trying to do with this. There's also another game that came out which used your smartphones similar to like a laser tag type game. This was this was around the same time as Ingress started out, and I can see how that started kind of morphed into the whole Pokemon War type thing. I'm not gonna lie, with my little boy when he was growing up, I say little now, he's almost as tall as I am. He's 16, he'll be 17 in 2 months, or actually next month. Yeah. But when he was growing up as a small child, Pokemon was his thing. So, by proxy, being with him as he was watching TV, I became, enamored with the whole Pokemon ethos. We collected we had the whole VHS set. I'll show my age now, VHS, right? We had the whole video set. We collected all the characters. We collected the cards. Mewtwo was my favorite. I mean, I could see something like this, and I know I'm not the Nintendo guy here. I know that's typically you two. But I mean, I kind of saw it, and I was watching it with my daughter in the car today, and like her and I were like, wow, this is really cool. If this is the end result, hell, I've got a Nexus 6. If I can, hopefully there's an app for both Android and iOS, or hopefully there's no like fragmentation or split where it's only on one. But I mean, hey, I can mess with it, dude. I could definitely see myself killing time on my phone doing stupid stuff like this.
And driving away too. Absolutely.
I've done it before. It wouldn't be hard. And to be honest, I stopped after about 8 months of doing Ingress nonstop. I stopped playing it because I noticed I was changing the way I was going home, what time I would go home, which way I would drive. I would leave in the middle of the night because I got a notification, leave my office in the middle of the day. But I've always wondered what would happen if I went back, and I've never gone back. But this doesn't seem as personally invasive as maybe Ingress was. So I would definitely, I'm definitely curious. I'd like to see more about this.
There's two things that I noticed that got my attention big time. Besides capturing the Pokemon, one of them is, let's say you get together in the location and there's other players there at the same location. You guys could team up and attack other Pokemons that are there at the same location, and you guys could battle out, and everybody could capture those Pokemon too at the same time.
And there's a time limit, so it seems like the more people you get together, the higher
that's the Mewtwo one. But I'm talking about the one at the park from the video that everybody's there together, and you guys are working together.
It was a collaborative. That was a collaborative battle against Mewtwo. So there was like Charizard.
He's talking about the 3 versus 3, where it's like the guys versus the girls in the park.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Like that. Too. Yeah, that one I like, and I like the Mewtwo. The Mewtwo one is the one that got my attention to the most because it's everybody working together. All the Pokemons that you collected, attack that one, that character, because there's gonna be other Pokemon stronger than Mewtwo also. That you only have 10 minutes, and you guys work together to see if you could finally capture that Pokemon. And if you're not, it's gonna escape, and everybody failed. But it looks very, very interesting, right?
It's very, a lot of potential. I mean, we just scratched the surface of what this is capable of.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited. I've got to be honest about this.
Yeah,
I really hope they bundle this device with the new Pokemon game. That would just be the cash grab of all cash grabs, I think.
By the way, I was looking at I haven't really talked about this for a very long time, but I want to talk about it very quick because I usually get the monthly MPD stuff every month, right? And it's not about like who sold the most from like all these other consoles and stuff. But I'm happy. Let me tell you, I'm very, very happy to see a couple games that I purchased during the month of August that are in the top 10. And I'm excited about this. One of them is Rare Replay, which I love that game, right? Gears of War Ultimate, we love that game too. And the one that surprised me, and I'm happy to see this, they're in the top 10, Until Dawn for PlayStation 4. There has been no marketing on that game. It has been strictly word of mouth. There's no TV ad. I'm happy to see that this game sold a lot and is in the top 10. Of course, you're going to see Minecraft and Madden and Grand Theft Auto. Like the usual games is always in the top 10. But Until Dawn, Rare Replay, and Gears, that's cool. Really, really cool to see that top 10. So, Patrick, what are your thoughts about Until Dawn? Because that's a game that really surprised me. And I went to the store, I bought it, and I finished it, and I played it like every day for couple chapters with my girlfriend. We were working together, and I'm like, okay, which one I should select? Because the cool thing about this game, like for those that don't know, this is a suspenseful. I don't see it as like a crazy horror game. This is more like a suspenseful. Like it reminded me of like Scream, kind of, right? That type of movie.
I'll let you have your say, and I'm gonna say mine.
Yeah, okay. And the cool thing about this is that no matter what, every time, like whatever you pick during the game, like the decisions, it affects the story. Like it changes every single time. It's like the butterfly effect. Like you'll see the intro, they show like, okay, whatever you pick, there's gonna be changes. It's gonna affect other characters too. So let's say you pick something in the beginning, maybe because of that decision, one of your favorite characters later in the game might die, or their boyfriend or girlfriend might die. Like, it's pretty cool. I love it so much. So, Patrick, what are you going to say? You were going to say something?
I was just going to say, I'm glad we brought this up because this is one of my favorite games I've played, not only of this year, but in a couple of years, because it completely blindsided me. I don't know how, I slept on the initial launch, but it took me about 2 or 3 weeks to be like, okay, let me see what the hype is about. About this. I rented it and just played it through start to finish from like, I think I got it perfectly timed where it was like 12 at midnight and I went all the way till it was dawn, like in real life, and it synced up with the game. And I was just like, by the sun was coming up, I was like, whoa, that was way too much emotional baggage to carry over one night. But yeah, Until Dawn is a really, really great concept of a game that takes that choose your own adventure style, but places it, I think, in like the perfect setting, which is the teenage horror film, which we can all agree, has become so terrible over the years because, they just don't know what to do with it. These guys knew exactly what to do with it, and it kept me suspenseful the whole time. So, you compared it to Scream, like you didn't think it was that scary. You see it as a horror experience, but not like horror for you. This game actually scared me multiple times on a couple of levels, and I don't want to give anything away, but every time I just started trying to figure out what was going on, it shifted, and then like my comfort zone dropped. Like the floor felt like, oh, I thought that I was safe here. Oh, I didn't, I don't want to spoil anything, but like I didn't think that was real. I didn't, I don't believe in that stuff. Like, how is this happening? Like, the psychological effect is pretty vivid because the characters. Props to these kids. I unfortunately I can only name check Hayden Panettiere because she's like the main star of the game. But all of those kids they got, those voice actors did an absolutely phenomenal job. Some of the best voice acting I've seen in a video game.
Oh, you know what, Patrick? I forgot to mention that one of the characters, Pete. That show, The Robot, Mr. Robot. The main, the main actor of that show.
Yes,
he is in this game.
Rami Malek is his name. He was in not Fast and the Furious. He was in Need for Speed. He was the young.
He wasn't Need for Speed.
He was the little brother in Need for Speed, the movie.
Oh, okay. Huh. I didn't watch that movie. Okay, cool.
No, but like, these guys, I think they're going to be stars after this. I mean, obviously Hayden Panettiere is set, for life, but I think these people are going to get noticed because of this role, because I think it took them like 5 years to make this game, because I think it originally started out as like a PlayStation 3 first-person move title, and thank God that fell through, because we ended up with this, which is so much better than I thought it would be. Because usually people hate QuickTime events in games. I think this is probably the best use of QuickTime events I have seen in a game, period. Because they actually mattered. I literally felt adrenaline, like, oh my god, I cannot mess up. If I mess up, this character's gonna fall and probably break their neck. And even like when I would actually miss one and like they would miss up, and I'd go, damn, and like my character would trip. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die. They would like somehow get out last second. I'm like, whoa, that was incredible. And then like you said, all of a sudden, boom, character attached to you, they're dead, just like that, because you messed up, made a bad call. And you're like, wow, I really kind of feel awful right now, but at no point did I ever want to be like, revert my last save file. Like, no, damn, this is my one experience, and it was really, really good. So now I really want to invite other people over, like my friends locally, and I want to watch them play it. Because like you said, this is one of those games that's perfectly set up for that Let's Play environment. Obviously you want to play it yourself, headphones on, dark room, first time, because really good story in this game. But I'm really looking forward to.
You could even play with a group and everybody decide, hey, okay, which one? Like, dude, my girlfriend and I, we had a long conversation.
Yeah,
we were like debating, okay, who could it be? Why this is going on? Wait a minute, because you also will find clues in the game that will help you with the investigation on why this whole thing is going on. And another thing too is that in certain situations, you don't have to shoot or you don't have to fight. You could just stand still, and that also will help you in the game.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. You would think it sounds so stupid on paper. There are moments in the game where literally it just tells you, hold the DualShock 4 still. And it means still. Like, you cannot even, like, breathe the wrong way and
put it on the ground. Just drop it on the table and walk away.
you can't even do that because it sneaks up on you. You're like, oh, I can't do that because I'm stuck in this position. So there's some really stressful moments where you have that whole, idea of like you're hiding in, the middle of a wall and, the killer walks by and you're like trying to hold your breath and like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You actually somehow makes you feel that fear. When usually you'd be pissed off, like, damn it, woman, why can't you run without tripping? Like, why are y'all so stupid? When you're making the decisions yourself, you realize how terrible the situation actually is and how it's spiraling down throughout the night. I absolutely adore this game. I cannot wait.
I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play it again.
I'm already playing it this weekend. I'm going to invite, some friends over. I'm going to sit down. I'm not going to say anything because I want to be an observer, and I'm just going to watch them experience it because it is such an amazing title. I think if you have a PS4, you have to play this.
Yeah, I think this is, to me, in my opinion, I know people are going to call me crazy.
Oh, Jesus.
This is by far. No, this is by far. I mean, of course, people are going to like Destiny and all that, which I understand. I'm talking about like as an exclusive PlayStation title for now, because things might change in the future. This is my favorite one so far. Like, I have Infamous. I'm excited for Uncharted. I'm excited for a lot of things.
Would you put this as your Game of the Year contender right now?
No, well, you know what? I put him. I'll put it maybe up there, like of my favorite games, like top 5, top 10. I'll put it up there, like of course. I'll definitely of this year, yeah. For PlayStation game, yeah.
No, I'm saying just any game. Does a console console exempt video game top 5 game
right now? As of right now, I'll put it on my top 5. For me right now, it might change later on. We have a long way to go, and the reason is because it's just I had a great time playing with this with my girlfriend. Like, it's rare for a game of that type. For me to have a great time with her, and dude, she was freaking out. Like we jumped in certain moments.
I was freaking
like,
out.
What? You know, and the thing is too, you talk about like you can't move your controller, you have to like stand still. But I'm talking about also there was moments that, let's say there was like a crazy animal that it was there staring at you, and you're staring at them, and I'm in a situation like, should I shoot at them? Are they possessed? Are they like normal?
Yeah,
like
I know what you're talking about. I almost made that bad call too. I'm like, I think this would get a lot worse if I did.
I don't want to say no spoilers, but let me tell you, man, I made the right decision in that game. You know, and
it's hard to tell. It really is hard to tell what you're supposed to do in any given situation.
Yeah, man.
Because things are so out of your control, and just I don't know. Some of my favorite pacing I've ever seen in a video game story. So I think, by my definition, because it's hard to define what's a game of the year, you know, is it the most fun game? Is it the one you play the most? But like for me, that initial experience, it's really hard to top Until Dawn. Of anything else I've played this year in terms of like emotional impact and just being totally unprepared and caught off guard for the type of experience I was about to play. Because all I really knew it would be similar to Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, which both games I loved on PlayStation 3. But this blew those games out of the water. Straight up out of the water.
Call me crazy. I think I jumped more in this game, playing this game, like because of it was so scary, more than the original Dead Space, and that game was freaking scary.
Tough to. I don't know.
In my opinion,
Dead Space is really
settle
scary.
down now, Danny. Don't get a little too over-exaggerated.
The reason why I'm saying that, I'm talking about I jumped more. Like there was moments I was not expecting. I jumped in this game, but for Dead Space, there was moments that was like kind of predictable, like, okay, something's going to happen. But for this, it was so well done.
Yeah.
It made me like, oh my God. And plus, hearing my girlfriend too jump too at the same time, like, whoa, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't get that with like a lot of moments like that with Dead Space.
I think Dead Space definitely does the sense of dread a lot better because you're isolated on a space station and it's scary as crap. But Until Dawn, it makes jump scares good again. Because usually those are really bad, and those are like what you have to do if you can't write good horror. But they knew how to write horror. So like the suspense is there, and when the jump scares do happen, they work. They really do. And there's some genuinely unsettling moments. Like you see things walk past hallways, or you see things out of the corner of your eye, and you're like, I kind of don't want to go over there, but I think I have to. And there's some moments where like your curiosity will get you killed. You're not supposed to go explore.
I made that mistake.
Yeah,
I made that mistake in the game. I can't say I can't say who or what.
I won't say it either.
There was a part in the game that I got very curious.
Curiosity killed the cat, man.
It basically something really bad happens to one of the characters that I like, and dude, I was so mad. I looked at my girlfriend. I'm like, I can't believe I just did that. I can't.
That's all.
It basically effed up the whole story, in my opinion, because of that decision. So you gotta be really careful what you do, man. I highly recommend it, man.
I highly recommend. If you have a PS4, you gotta play this.
Go
100%.
get it. It's high, and there was a lot of people that saw me playing for a couple of days, and they were sending me messages through PSN, and I was like, I didn't want to say anything because I wanted to finish the game and maybe play a little bit more again and then talk about it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's why I didn't reply to all those listeners out there that, you know, that hit me up. Now this is the official thing. Go get it. For me, go get it. You know me, I'm very picky when it comes to games, man. Really, really picky. So, Patrick, you too? You saying the same thing?
I gotta agree. I even think I saw that there's like a price drop to $40 at Best Buy like next week. So if that's legit, like go get that. This game is worth your money because if we buy these things, and I'm gonna go back and buy this as soon as I can, we'll get more things like this. And that is amazing to me because like I kind of feel like I miss being surprised by games anymore because of the job that we do on a daily basis. We're so involved with game development at every level. This was one of those experiences where I felt like I was throwing back to, just a kid playing a game to have a good time. And it's like, wow, what an amazing experience. Like, it's something I want to share with everybody. To me, this is like one of my favorite now introductory points into modern gaming. So when I say to somebody, hey, you want to see what they can do now with modern day console gaming, let me show you Until Dawn. It's nothing like you've ever seen before, and it's probably better than most of the horror films you have watched in the last couple of years. Straight up, it's great. Gotta play it.
All right, guys, we're going to take a short break. And once we come back, we have a couple more reviews. We have, what, Possum, from you? You have something for this week?
Mm-hmm. We're doing Blues and Bullets Episode 1, which is an episodic adventure game available for Xbox One and PC.
All right. And also I have a review of Forza Motorsport 6, which I've been playing it nonstop for the past week. Plus, I'm in level 41 right now. By the time you listen to this, I'm going to be even higher. But, dude, I've been playing that nonstop. I'm going to be talking about that in a few minutes. And also fan mail. So once we come back, we're going to talk about all that good stuff. So we'll be right back after this.
Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
Your season-long fantasy football team may be going strong, but you don't have to wait until week 16 to get paid. Put your fantasy skills to the test every week this season at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site. One-week fantasy means no season-long commitments. Got an injured player? No problem. It's like a new season every week, so you're never stuck with the same players. And get this, DraftKings is crowning a new millionaire every week this season. You could turn your love of football into a life-changing payday. Just pick your players, pile up the points, pick up your cash, that's it. Believe me, you've never experienced football like this before. This isn't fantasy as usual, this is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. And like we've been telling you guys all season, folks, NFL is finally here. It's football time. We're ready to go. You don't have to be stuck in your typical fantasy draft leagues. You can do DraftKings, and every week is a new week. So I'm super excited to get this going now. So let's get into some DraftKings. But before you do, hurry over to DraftKings now and use our promo code GamerTag to play for a free shot at $1 million in this week's Millionaire Maker event. Enter GamerTag for a free entry now only at DraftKings.com. That is DraftKings.com. Once again, DraftKings.com.
This is Gamer Tag Radio. Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
All right, back here, Gamer Tag Radio episode 502, and now we're going to play a review of Forza Motorsport 6. 2015 marks the 10th anniversary of the Forza series. Let me tell you, Forza Motorsport 6 is the best racing game of this generation, and even one of the best that I played in years. What makes this different than the previous game? This one has 460 cars that you could collect. That's twice more than any other game of this generation. You will also tour around 26 world-famous destinations. Some are similar and some are brand new. That's more location than any previous Forza game. And honestly, I was very, very disappointed with how many they had on the previous game. But the cool new thing about this game, it has night and wet weather racing. Now, the wet weather racing, that part is very, very different than the ones that I played from other racing games. And it's because the weather system is very, very different, especially the 3D puddles. Let me tell you, when you're driving super, super fast against 24 players, Drivatars or even online multiplayer, if you go to a puddle, that is going to make the situation even crazier. Like, you driving wise, you will slip, you will go to the side. You got to be really, really careful. And to me, like, when I go to like different locations, it didn't feel like the place was similar. It was always changing, like the puddles and different locations and everything. So it doesn't feel, the same thing over and over and over again. No, it's always changing, and it's very, very challenging. And to me, I think it's one of the best wet weather racing games that I ever seen in any racing games, period. For those that want to play the career single player game, they have a cool career section that's called Stories of Motorsport. In this, you unlock showcase events which spotlight certain type of race, and it's hosted by famous celebrities, famous race car drivers that talk about the events and everything too. This has over 70 plus hour of gameplay. I've been playing that non-stop, more than the multiplayer, because I want to focus on getting as much cars as I want. Been playing that non-stop. And right now I'm in level 41, about to hit 42. and it's very, very entertaining. So much fun. And the cool thing is you could make it difficult as a driver, or as make the drivatar even more challenging. You could do that. At the end, you will get more credits for you to upgrade your car, to buy more cars, or to do other things too in the game. I know I mentioned the weather system in this game, but night is also pretty cool. Like, to me, it's one of the most challenging ones that I've seen in the game, because there's certain areas that's very, very challenging, let me tell you, because it's so dark. You don't know what's going on around your areas, but it makes it fun and challenging, you know? So I highly recommend to try out the night racing part of the game. It's really cool. I love it. Even if you're not a hardcore racing person, this game, it makes, like, look, I'm not a very like into cars racing, like I'm not hardcore when it comes to that, but the way how they design the game, it makes it easier for the hardcore, and also for just casual racers. The way how they laid out, let's say if you want to pick a different type of cars, it's easier now. You go through the model, and you see the cars there. You pick the ones that you want. Just the whole design, and even gameplay wise, it is perfect for anyone, from pros or not. What I did was I made the drivatars more challenging for me, so I could get more credits. Driving wise, I'm like average plus. Also, mods, for those that don't know, in the game they have this new thing called mods, where it gives it, like, you'll buy mod packs within the game. Some of them are really rare. Some of them just like the cheap ones is like regular cards and stuff. But those are gonna help you to give like a little boost for your car within the game. You only could do that in the single player. You can't do it in the multiplayer wise. So yeah, there's also some mods that will also give you like a boost, like 10% power, or you could also, some of them will make you drive strictly manual the whole time, or there's a special mod car that will give you access only to drive cockpit wise, but also will help you get like a little boost for your car too. Like things like that. It's really cool and awesome. I'm always using that because it helped me within the game and stuff, the single player wise, man. So online, like I said, 24 players could play at the same time. The drivatars are really challenging. That was one of the things that we talked about during E3. I was like, man, how the drivatars are gonna play once you play like the single player. How they gonna be like once you play like the water and the night levels, because drivatars are not used to that, because in the previous game it was not like that, you know. So when I played it, you can even notice the difference. They played pretty good, man. So they did a great job with that. Love the design. Let me tell you, Rio de Janeiro, one of my favorite levels. Wow, breathtaking when you drive through there, man. Wow, it looks so cool, man. Multiplayer, they also have online leagues, which you could also spectate them to. The online leagues are scheduled multiplayer races where players are organized by skill level. So if you're really good, you go there. Depending on your division and skill level, you will meet other players around the world, and you guys will play and challenge each other there. Or hey, you don't want to race, you could spectate that, watch any other race throughout the world that's going on at that moment. And of course, they have everything that you could upgrade your cars, photos where you could share with the community, customize those cars. Man, there's so many things you could do in this game. I feel that this is one of the best racing games that I played in a very long time. I was very disappointed with Forza 5, and I'm so happy that Turn 10 took their time to make this even better. Like, this is true next gen. Now I could say this next gen. You know, I love Forza Horizon 2, which is great and is a totally different game. But man, Forza 6, groundbreaking, amazing. One of my favorite racing games in a very long time. And I highly recommend it. If you have an Xbox One and you're into racing games and you're dying for something cool, try the demo. You could download it. It's free. And once you're done, go buy this game. We need games like this in the future. And hopefully we see more innovative racing games in the future, man, because of this game, you know? So they did a great job, man. Props to Turd 10. And then I highly recommended this game, all right? This is Danny signing off. And now Pawson is going to review Blues and Bullets for the Xbox One.
Hey, GTR, Patrick here, and I'm back with a review for you guys for this week. And this time we're going to talk about Blues and Bullets, which is a new episodic adventure game from the studio A Crowd of Monsters and is available for Xbox One and Microsoft Windows. Now, what is Blues and Bullets, you're probably asking? Great question. To put it simply, it's an alternate history noir detective game. So, a little bit of backstory. You play as Elliot Ness, which is, yes, the same famous Elliot Ness who led the Untouchables, who brought down Al Capone back during the Prohibition age. But this is an alternate timeline, so things are a little bit differently. This Elliot Ness, it finds him, he's a retired detective, and he's running a diner, which is coincidentally called Blues and Bullets. And one day a man comes in and tells him that his old nemesis Al Capone is seeking him out and needs his help. And that's about all I'll give away for the plot, because it is pretty much the biggest part of the game here, and I don't want to spoil any of it, but there's a really cool narrative that goes on here, both in and behind the scenes. So what kind of game is Blues and Bullets? It combines elements from a lot of other genres you're probably familiar with, such as the point-and-click adventure, where you have to go through the environment, discover clues, add them to a list, which you can use later, and also have conversations with people, get information out of them, lie if you have to, tell the truth, manipulate them, play it straight, however you can to get information or to make them think a certain way. And these have consequences for these choices that will carry into future versions of the game. And you also have more of that style of crime scene solving that played a big part in LA Noire as well. So a lot of different elements come together to make Blues and Bullets. So let's talk how it plays. A good example is you'll find yourself in a crime scene and, there's a dead body and you have to figure out, what happened. So you go through the process of deductive reasoning, of looking at, the blood stains, the broken window, how was the furniture destroyed, how was the body moved. All these things are clues that help you kind of figure out and piece together the crime scene and basically recreate the events of what happened and try to figure out, what is going on, why were you hired, and, what does this have to do with you? And it's a really neat system, and I enjoy it because it kind of gets you, down in the nitty-gritty of having to think of, I need to go over here and check this. But when it comes time to put the clues together, there's no room for failure. And that what kind of bugs me is that the system is set up where you can just keep trying each clue in each specific space until you get the right one and it works. And there's no penalty for getting it wrong. So I was playing it safe and really thinking about my choices and picked a wrong. I'm like, oh no, I messed up. And it's like, oh well, pick the other one. There it is. You're good. You can progress now. So a little disappointed in that. I would have liked a little bit more consequences for those actions. But it seems like the consequences come more from the dialogue choices, how you handle talking to people, how you handle, lying or telling the truth or extracting information, things like that. And that's great. That seems like a good system. It definitely notifies you when you have made a serious choice, and the consequences will probably be felt later on down the road in future iterations of the story. But the other side of the equation is interesting too, because then you get into the world exploration, if you will. And there's a lot of really interesting, cool things with its environment, typography, seeing the words on the screen, and top it all off, it has this really neat black and white noir visual style to it. It really accentuates the characters' faces, the dialogue, and then obviously red is the main color that kind of like predominantly jumps out at you, similar to what you've seen in films like Sin City. So blood takes, the cake here. It is the forward driving element, and many other elements of red help drive you to figure out what to do and what's going on. But what I like about Blues and Bullets a lot is that it kind of just dumps you into this world without giving you too much exposition. And there seems to be multiple storylines going on while you're controlling Elliot Ness. So you really get a good sense that there is this really good, epic plot waiting to happen. You're slowly unfolding it like layers of an onion. And it really is getting me excited because, let's talk length. You're paying, this is $5 for episode 1. It took me approximately an hour and 30 minutes to go from start to finish without taking a break, from credits to credits. And I really enjoyed my time a lot. And by the end, I was already really anxious and ready to be like, all right, when's the next episode come out? I want to know more about the story. It's just now getting good. So good writing, good cliffhangers, well designed. I just want to know, more about how the gameplay is going to evolve. Is it going to be the similar kind of setup every time, or are we going to get different kinds of gameplay as the story progresses? Unknown at this point, but it's got me interested enough where I want to keep following it. So, even if it is the same thing for all the next 4 episodes, I'm still going to play it because the gameplay, it's pretty fun. I wish it was more challenging, but the point is the narrative here is really good. And more importantly, the voice acting is fantastic. So they got, Doug Cockle, who was the voice of Geralt of Rivia from the Witcher games, to play the main character, Elliot Ness. And there's some really good voice acting in there, too, that really just sucks you in and makes you feel like, you're watching LA Confidential or Chinatown or any other noir-style setting. It really accomplishes it really well. There's a fantastical musical score behind it. Really great music. Sounds fantastic. Sucks you into the environment. Really makes you feel, the depression of being a detective as the rain's coming down and, that great, cynicism that comes with being a gumshoe. It's got all the elements that you're familiar with from noir, but really put in this neat little package. It's easy to pick up, easy to play. And I think, is a very accessible game, even for people who really probably don't play these types of games normally. By having it on the console and Xbox One, normally these games are only on PC. I think it's going to hit a bigger audience. I think that's great because I love these type of experiences. They're different from the norm, and they give you the chance to explore, new worlds and stories. And it's essentially just like delving right into a really good detective story, but you're making the decisions, you're making the calls, and you'll see how your consequences play out through the course of the narrative. So all in all, I really like Blues and Bullets a lot. Again, it's only $5 for episode 1. I recommend you check it out. You get at least an hour and 30 minutes from your first playthrough. You can go back through a second or third time. You can have multiple save files to have multiple stories and choices that you want to carry over into the future episodes. But go ahead, check it out. I think it's a really neat game. I'm really enjoying it a lot. I'm looking forward to the future games. So, as I said, $5 for episode 1, or you can go ahead and buy the whole bundle for $20, your choice. But at least check this one out. See what you think. Even if these aren't really your typical kind of games, I would recommend this one because it is something different, something neat. So again, Blues and Bullets, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Episode 1's available now. Episodes 2, 3, 4, and 5 will come later down the road. All right, thanks.
Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
All right, so we're back here, and guess what, Pete? It's your favorite segment of the show. You ready?
Mail.
Yes, it's fan mail.
Fan mail at gamertagradio.com.
All right, so we have a couple of questions. There's also a voicemail, but I'm going to play this voicemail because he called last week about the whole digital game stuff, and we replied. We responded to everything, right? And he wanted to say something about last week's episode. So let's play right now.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Joe from Dallas, Texas. Man, I had a big deal about the whole digital thing. Look, I understand about the change, Godfrey, but if they're going to make everything digital, you're going to have to give me a bigger hard drive because I filled up my 500 gigabyte hard drive so fast on the Xbox One. It's unbelievable. So that's one. And then two, man, I buy Blu-ray DVDs all the time because the way I see it, I get more money's worth out of buying a DVD than I do renting one. Now, if I'm just going to plan on watching it just once, that's understandable. But I usually watch stuff many times after that. And especially coming from back in the day when you could go down and pay $3 to rent a movie for a week, or you could spend $7 to rent a game for a week, that just seems like a ripoff, renting something for $5 or something like that. But that's just my opinion. I'm not all against it, but hey, I do like my physical copies. All right, you guys, y'all take it easy. Peace.
All right, I just want to say thanks for calling. And I'll say this, man. For those that are totally against the whole digital games that's happening now and in the future also, it's going to happen, guys. No matter what you do, no matter what you complain, it's going to happen. And eventually all those discs is not going to exist anymore. So if I was you, start now, buy your hard drive, and start from now. Don't wait till the last minute, and don't get pissed when it happens because eventually it's going to happen. And all those stuff like used games is gonna disappear, in my opinion. So Patrick, you want to say anything else?
So 5 years ago, before I moved, and I guess this comes more with just growing up and maturing. It is no slight to you, sir. I don't know you, so I'm not trying to say anything. I was all about, I want to show off my collection. I want to show off all my games. I've to be honest, and I probably still have them. And I'm saying this now. My wife's probably sitting in the corner. Like, if she hears this, she's gonna be like, "Get rid of all those games." I've probably got a good 50 to 60 games just from the Xbox 360 sitting in my entertainment center, and I don't need them. I don't play them. Why do I need them? I mean, I have a box here. I just cleaned out my office, and I've got games from the Dreamcast. I've got games from Nintendo DS, Genesis. I've got a bunch of games. They're doing me no good other than sitting in a box and taking up space in my office. If I could, and I had a game emulator, or I could use digital versions of it, I would go there. It's easier to launch. You don't have to get up out your couch. I know this is like the society of laziness, where everybody, and I raise my hand. I'm lazy just like everybody else. I have no problems saying, okay, Xbox, go to Destiny and not have to get up and put in the disc. It kind of bugs me, and that taps more into my lazy self, that I have to get up if my daughter or my son have been playing Batman Arkham Knight, and I have to get up and I have to swap out the disc. It'd be a hell of a lot easier if I didn't have to get up.
What about movies?
I just go to Plex. I just use my controller, or I use my Smart Glass app. I'm out the door. Done.
Okay. Done. Patrick?
I mean, I'm all for the future, but like, I just need bigger hard drives, quicker, for a good price. Because I think once this holiday is over with, it's going to be a nightmare for everybody.
Hey, it's anywhere from $100 to $130. You can get from 3 to 5 terabytes if you get a good deal. I got a 3 terabyte for $100. I know earlier last year they were selling 5 terabyte drives for $140.
I got a 4 terabyte, and here's the thing: it's going to be every year. It's going to go. The price is going to go lower and lower.
So,
and lower.
Quick question, and we'll go back to what Poston was trying to say before we interrupted him. Have you, Danny, played games that you've launched off of the external hard drive, and have you seen any performance degradation, or plays the same?
No, it's the same. Why?
No, just curious, because I moved some of the lesser played games off of my main hard drive and moved them off to the external, because I don't play them as often, or I may not play them, but I wanted to keep the game safe. So in case, like for example, Black Ops and Call of Duty, I moved Ghosts and Advanced Warfare over to my external so that I would have space to play Black Ops 3 in the event that it maybe used any of the game saves or anything like that for the next game, which I'm going to get likely digitally. So I was just curious if there was any performance, or if you notice any performance lag or hits.
Nah, man. Look, I have all my games on my hard drive. Everything. My like the ones I play the most is there too. Like The Witcher. Now with Forza 6. Yeah, and your favorite Destiny is there too. I have everything. I have everything there. Honestly, I haven't noticed anything major. Like it's me. It's been easy for me to just switch from game to game to game. So, Patrick, so you were going to say something and then we interrupted you? Sorry about that.
I think I was pretty much done. I'm obviously going to have to get an external hard drive probably before the end of the year, because everything's coming out. I can't imagine how big Halo 5 alone is going to be. Yeah. Not to mention Destiny and Taken King, and it's got an 18 gig update plus Taken King is how many more gigs. I mean, it is seriously an issue. I've had to delete things much more sooner than I would like. So I kind of put myself on a schedule of like, hey, you need to beat this so you can delete this to make room for the next thing coming out. And it's kind of, I don't like that. That doesn't seem very next gen gaming to me. But that is the downside of the digital and the 0.5 terabyte hard drive. So it looks like we're all gonna have to upgrade pretty soon.
Yeah, and I really want to talk about that too, Pete, because and Patrick, the other day I was reading because I have Comcast here at home, locally here in Miami, and I received an email. I think every Comcast customer from the South Florida area got this email.
Only Broward, Dade, and Monroe counties, Palm Beach counties. Thank you. Shout out to Palm Beach.
That's Broward and Miami, Dade County. That's all South.
Right, so Palm Beach County, South Florida also. Holler, we didn't get it.
For now, but eventually it's going to happen.
No.
But anyways, can I explain to people what the hell I'm talking about?
Go ahead, and I'll give my counter.
Okay, so they are basically, because before they used to have it as like unlimited, because I think it was testing. They were testing the area in certain areas in the United States. They had unlimited bandwidth data, and I don't know what happened. That maybe Pete knows about this, but now they're making changes that starting October 1st, whoever surpass, I believe 300 gigabytes, they have to pay a fee. I think how much is it, Pete? Every 50 gigs,
it's $30. It's $10 for every 50 gigs. So I'm going to go back a little bit. It's never been unlimited. There was an alleged 250 gig cap that they tried to impose about 5 or 6 years ago, and a lot of people complained about it. So they kind of just they left the 250 gig limit there, but they just never said or acted on people who exceeded that bandwidth usage.
Okay.
So there's so now, over the last 8 to 9 months, there's been a couple of free increases that Comcast or Xfinity customers have gotten. So right now I've got the Blast package, which is the 50 meg package. But if you have that, you were automatically bumped up to 105 megs. The only counties in the state of Florida that did not get that free bump to from 50 to 105 was Dade and Broward. Dade and Broward have argued and complained and sent a lot of really bad hate mail towards Comcast. And no coincidence, they're the only ones with this limit in the state of Florida. So I think there's a disconnect between Xfinity and the customer base in Dade and Broward counties. And Dade and Broward counties have always been the last ones to receive the updates. And I don't know if that's because of FCC or some kind of infrastructure issues down there. And I know it because I remember living down in Miami before I moved up to Palm Beach, that I always wanted more, or the newer equipment that was available to the rest of the Comcast people or Comcast customers in the country, and they didn't get it. And for whatever reason, I never understood why. And I'm starting to see it now, and I don't know if it's more legislation or governmental, or there's people aren't getting enough kickbacks or something in the county. Mm-hmm. But when I moved up here, I want the new Cisco DVR box. Oh, no problem. Here you go. So I'm not saying that's the exact reason why people are getting these alerts. And it's funny because my best friend lives in Broward, and he pays for fiber. He pays for the highest business class allowable, which I think is like 500 gig bandwidth. And he got this as well. The top tier customers got this alert as well. And it's kind of like, is that how you're really going to treat your top tier customer? The ones that are paying $400 or $500 a month, you're going to nickel and dime them for an extra couple of hundred, an extra $10, $20, $30 for bandwidth? Really? You're going to you're going to offer them 500 gigs, but say, you can only use 300. Have a nice day.
But see, they announced 2 plans. The first one we talked about, like
Payable.
after 300 gigs, pay up, whatever. And there's another one, quote unquote, unlimited data, which you pay an extra $30 a month and you get unlimited, right? Now, here's the thing: all these games I've been downloading on Xbox, it's been between 40 gigs, 50 gigs. The Witcher, that was like what, 50 gigs almost?
54 gigs. Yeah, you download 4 or 5 games, you've already hit your cap.
Yeah, you're done.
And that goes back to what this guy was saying. Maybe he has this. Maybe he just got the same thing as well, where he's got to worry about how much he downloads. So is it worth? And it's not like you get a savings. I don't believe you get a major savings by buying it digitally versus buying it at a GameStop or Best Buy or whatever. So there's no incentive for him to say, I'm just going to get it, digitally.
But even if you buy the disc, if you think about it, you buy the disc of any game and you put it in there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes these games have updates. It might be a gig. It might be even more. I don't know.
Taken King was 17 gigs.
17
gigs. That 2 days ago.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, look, I'm happy with the whole digital stuff, but at the same time, it's like, maybe it's because we're still in the early stages, maybe in the future, all these cable companies, maybe they're going to give us maybe more bandwidth, more, more data, in the future. But man, it's getting crazy, man. It's getting really, really crazy when it comes to that stuff, man. So yeah, look, just last month I hit 500 gigs. Just last month.
And it's funny. It's funny when you complained about that. I was like, dude, why are you complaining? You're not even using that much. And then I looked and I'm like, 450. I'm like, geez. Hey, Pete, way to stick your foot in your mouth there, guy.
But let me tell you, I was looking too. AT&T Uverse, they only give you 250 gigs a month. And if
you got to think about it.
That, you have to pay that. You have
Uverse,
to pay extra.
You don't get any more. You get anywhere from 6 to 8 megs. Max, you'll get 18 to 24. You'll never get with DSL with DSL/Uverse. You'll never reach those those advertised speeds like Xfinity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just you get then that's the difference between cable subscribed internet and DSL or Uverse. You get that 8 meg package. That's all you're getting. You're not going to exceed 8 with cable internet. You could pay for a 50 meg package. You could get 60, you could get 80, you could get 30. It's variable based on the amount of usage happening in your immediate area. So,
all right.
The one I wanted to read is from Cody. Also known as Downfall. He's from Bloomington, Indiana. Cody is very involved in the skateboarding community. Shout out to him. I like skateboarding and I like other extreme sports as well. But he doesn't think that there's a lot of hype around THPS5, aka Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. Could it be the change to cell shaded graphics, outdated mechanics? In my opinion, and now many others like me, we don't want Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. We want Skate 4, which, not surprisingly, is probably the de facto skating game that people want. My question is, do you think EA is interested in making Skate 4? And if so, do you think the success or failure of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 will persuade EA one way or the other? Are we wasting our time waiting for this game?
See, usually, if you don't notice, a lot of these companies that release those games in the past, they like to take breaks so they could work on other things, and then once they see that there's hype, like people want this back, they'll work on it behind the scenes, and then eventually they'll make an announcement. So if this game, the new Tony Hawk, if this game is successful, this will be a green light for EA to like, okay, guys, let's work on this. So it all depends. Like me personally, I think that yes, you're not hype about the new Tony Hawk, but I feel that it's good to support those type of games. So other companies, once they see their competition doing pretty good, that will help them to like EA work on those titles and bring it back. Like the reason why they brought back the new Mirror's Edge, and remember the first game was a failure, is because of the demand. People wanted this for a very long time, and that game was a failure. The first one was a quote unquote failure at first, but then eventually it sold 1 million copies.
It depends on how you view failure.
I would say
I don't know if it was a failure. It was like Poston just said. It was a disappointment to EA financially. But critically, everybody approved it. Everybody loved it critically.
I don't know anybody that doesn't like Mirror's Edge.
Yeah,
and that's how well it worked the first time.
That was my favorite game of that year. But financially, you're correct, Pete. Financially, it was a failure to EA because, eventually it sold 1 million copies, but it took a long time, a very long time. So when there's demand and there's people talking about it, like find your community that really want this game, Skate 4. You want this for EA to bring it back. Talk to the community. And just spread the word. Hit up Peter Moore on Twitter. Hey, Peter, we're hype it up. Once they see that hype, maybe you will see it bringing it back in the future. You never know.
Hey, and you know what? I know the lady from the young lady from was in Norway from last episode that sent you the chocolate. We didn't get any thanks. Was asking about a game.
By the way, delicious chocolate. By the way,
I'm sure. I wouldn't know. She had asked about games that if I had a chance, if I was the CEO of X game company and I could bring it back, Dave Mirra's BMX. That's my choice. Because I know that's kind of along the same vein of, the extreme sports, the skating and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I loved Dave Mirra for PS2. It was one of those games that I would sit there for hours and hours and hours and just try to do tricks and stuff like that. That's one of the games. And I know it's not as popular a sport as the skateboarding and as the snowboarding stuff now. But for me personally, it's always been a passion, and I would love to see a Dave Mirra BMX game come back.
All right,
I agree.
there you
That
go.
was a fun game. For sure.
There you go.
Yeah, this next one's from Preston. Shout out to him. He says, how's it going, fellas? Just had a simple non-related gaming question. I've been a listener since the beginning and haven't necessarily heard every show, but have not missed any of the recent shows. Appreciate it, Preston. One thing I miss on the podcast is the music you used to play and hip-hop interviews you record. Just wondering what reason, if any, the music/hip-hop integration is no longer a part of the show. I apologize if this has been touched on before. Keep up the great work, and I'll always be a listener. Thank you for your hard time and work. Thank you, Preston.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple times, and I know I've been interviewed other podcasts, and they also asked me that question. Now, here's the thing. Here's the tricky part. It all started when our show was available through iHeartRadio. I submitted our show there a couple times, and it got declined. And the reason why it got declined was because the music was over 30 minutes, and the thing is, they don't want to take that risk because let's say we play copyright music in there. Labels especially are going to go after them like, hey, you guys got to pay us because you're playing our song through the app, through the iHeartRadio. So it was just a pain in the butt. I was playing a lot of independent artists from Miami and from other places that are not signed. But still, they don't care. A lot of those companies don't want to take that risk, And especially now that we're part of now CBS Radio, I'd rather focus on the content. Like if we do get a hip hop artist in town or us going to an event, yeah, we will do an interview because some of them are gamers. They have like their songs part of the soundtrack, little things like that. So yeah, I'm willing to do that. Right away, I'll put that on the show. So that's the reason why I stopped. It was because I just don't want to go through the whole, labels hitting us up or companies not accepting our podcast because it had music over 30 seconds on a podcast. So that's the life of a podcaster for those who don't know. Yeah.
Such it is.
Yeah. Any other questions there?
This next one's from Adrian. Shout out, Adrian. What's up, dude? Hi, guys. Here's a general question for you. As we enter the fourth quarter for gaming, what game have you lost interest in due to all the talk from the developer with no release date announced? For me, No Man's Sky is more like No Man's Game.
Thank you.
Words, not mine.
Vaporware.
How many times can Sean Murray show the landing scale and describe the game in such a scrappy manner? What is our choice? That's a good question.
That's a pretty good question, man.
Because I guess, I don't know.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not really hype on No Man's Sky. Like, I'm not, I got excited when I got to see it for the first time.
I feel like I knew what it would be the moment they unveiled it. And I remember being surprised at everyone else's reactions. It's like, what do y'all think this is? I mean, this is Google Space Maps.
It's thank you. I've been saying that for how many? I was so intrigued
it's
when they
fascinating.
first
I love
announced it 2 years
space,
ago.
but to think I'm going to get dozens of hundreds of hours of gameplay out of Google Space Maps. I mean, come on, y'all.
But I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with that game. If somebody tell me why you're excited about that game. Please tell me. Change my mind, because if you change my mind, I'll definitely will buy it. Right now, I'm just not hype at all about that game. So
I can't.
Sure,
I'm not excited about it at all. I've been saying that since I can say it from E3 this year, maybe before. I can't recall. And I don't see the excitement of Shenmue 3 either. So.
I'm not hating. I'm happy to see an independent company making noise and. Maybe when the game comes out, maybe it will change my mind. Maybe I'm wrong, but as of right now, I don't know what's going on. I'm completely lost right now.
I just hate myself. I can't think of another example of something I no longer am interested in, because I feel like I can't think of it because I'm interested in it. But everything else that I know is coming out this year, I want, but.
That's the only game I could think of right now.
Yeah, that's a cheating answer, because that's the default case of that. I don't know.
I don't want people to think that we're hating. It's not even a hate. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm just confused.
Yeah, I don't want to be a hater. The messaging is confusing for sure. I guess if I had to give one answer, even though I'm the hardcore Star Wars fanatic on this podcast, Battlefront 3. Will I be playing it next year? I don't know. It does seem all like flashing lights and smoke and pretty graphics and nostalgia, and that's fine. That's cool. I'm all in for that. But I don't think this was the Battlefront 3 I wanted years ago from Free Radical or Pandemic, which, that ship has sailed and is gone. So I guess that's my answer, but it's still cheating because I almost cussed. I freaking love Star Wars. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite fictional universe. So yeah, I don't know. I guess that's kind of my half answer. I'll go with that.
Oh my God, Pawson. That is hilarious. Pete, you don't have anything else? It's the same game for you, No Man's Sky?
No Man's Sky, and I snuck it in. I don't even know if you caught it, but I don't see the excitement about Shenmue 3. I'm just going to say it like that.
Well,
Boom.
That's not coming out now. It's
not coming out ever. It's vaporware.
It's coming out again in 2 years or a year and a half. I don't know. I'm a huge fan.
Just like No Man's Sky.
Oh my
God. Look,
God.
if you never play Shenmue, you're not going to understand. That's the simplest thing I can say about Shenmue. I played it, so I understand.
Too. I'm just curious, can they recreate that magic? Will people still be receptive to that style of game, or do they just have to say, screw it, we had to think up something new? So I'm kind of hoping they go with the screw it option because what Shenmue 1 and 2 play like. They're great games for their time periods. They need to evolve it into something else because it can't just be that same thing again. Because a lot of other games every game is stolen from that. Every game is stolen.
Honestly,
from Shenmue.
Look, I love Shenmue to death, and honestly, I'm afraid if they add new stuff, I don't know if it will work. I don't know if it will work.
They have to. As long as they continue the story. That's all we really care about. Let's be honest here. They need to come up with some cool new gameplay ideas because that was Shenmue's advantage. Was it came out at a time where it was crazy with some of the things that let you do gameplay wise that no other game would even think to do at the time. So I think they need to. That is what they're known for. They should push that envelope. Here, polar opposite. Final Fantasy VII. They're not going to change anything because they would probably piss a lot of people off. It's just going to be a much prettier version of what you played
2 different
years
games
ago. But that's the comparison. They're both equally hyped games. I think Shenmue needs to go with its advantage of it is different and unique. Push that envelope. Final Fantasy VII, play that safe. You're making this off of nostalgia to make money. No one's arguing that, but Shenmue, don't do that. Please don't go down that path.
You know why it's a different type, 2 different type games, Pawson? Not because of the RPG.
One's a straight remake and one's a sequel. Let's be fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's.
But it's a similar. My reaction was very similar to E3 when they announced both of them. I was like, oh my God, is this a dream? Is this fantasy E3? Fanboy version? But no, it's real. It's just a long way off, as it should be, because that game, those games, please.
That game is not coming out till 2018.
Oh God, no. It'll be the swan song of the PS4 before the PS5 comes out.
All right. Anything else, or we're done?
Oh, he literally just asked what I just said. Okay, so I'll give Lucian credit for this. Okay, but he was basically just saying, "Hey guys, love the show. Haven't heard you guys talk about this much, but what do you guys think?" A few shows ago, another listener asked about JRPGs, and it made me think about the upcoming Final Fantasy VII remake. Few questions. What do you guys think of it? Just covered that. They are making changes. If they say they're making changes to the game, so what changes would be a deal breaker for you? I think anything. Let's be honest. It's a nostalgic release. For me, if they change the battle system, more recent Final Fantasies have been going with more action type gameplay. Final Fantasy 15 takes an even further departure from what I consider Final Fantasy. I agree. Leave it turn based. Do not mess with it. It was a great system. And he was just saying, I hit that nail on the head. It looks more like Kingdom Hearts than Final Fantasy to me. I really hope that's not the case. Because that's just stupid. I mean, you don't take something like Final Fantasy VII, which they said they never ever remake, and then you change it into something else. Because no one wants that. They want the exact same thing. They just want a prettier version of it. Let Kingdom Hearts 3 be the crazy, game that gets to have the Star Wars and the Marvel and everything else in it. That's awesome. I want that. Leave that out of Final Fantasy. Or more importantly, put that in 15. Because 15 is where they need to be putting their time and effort, because that is a really fun game based off the demo. And I think that's the direction Final Fantasy needs to go to stay relevant. Because I do not want it to die. 13 almost killed Final Fantasy. It tried so hard. I hate that game forever. I'm glad that it still lived on and 15 gets another chance. But JRPGs are tough. We need more of them. Please get more JRPGs over into America. Because I feel like, the Western RPG, it's been strangling the Japanese RPG for years now, and it's about to kill it. And I don't want that. I like choices as an RPG gamer. I like both sides of the spectrum. Give me some more good Japanese ones. Give me things that can compete with things like, The Witcher. or Elder Scrolls or Fallout. Like, let's get some. Come on, Japan.
Okay, so this one is from Shimmy. I don't know where you're from, but I can't tell if that's a cool or bad name. When I hear Shimmy, I think ODB. But
ODB hip hop. That's a hip hop stuff.
Shimmy, y'all. Yeah. Okay, so his questions for us are: what are your favorite RPGs of all time and why? And which single advancement in technology or game design has enriched your enjoyment of RPGs the most? I'm going to answer this really succinctly for myself. I am not a fan of RPGs, so I don't play them, so I can't answer it. I'm just going to defer to you two.
Congratulations, Pete.
Then you go first.
Favorite RPG of all time. I love 7, but in my heart, I go with Final Fantasy 3. It's a harder game, longer game. The mechanics, there were certain situations that reminded me of, like, the mechanics of the controller was like kind of like Street Fighter. You know what I'm talking about, Patrick? Have you played Final Fantasy on the Super Nintendo?
I mean, I played the the DS remake.
That's not
a little bit. So no, not the original.
Come on, he was like 8 when that came out.
Yeah, seriously, I was not playing JRPGs when I was a kid. Trust me, I was so far on the other spectrum of Sonic and Final Fight and Streets of Rage. Like, I was nowhere near the drama stuff. That came much later.
Technology-wise, I think playing an RPG online with others was something different in me.
Oh, dang it. Why did you have to bring that up? Now I have to say something.
What?
Go ahead. No, you finish. You finish. It's not nothing about you.
In my opinion, like, I'm talking about me.
Yeah.
Like, playing Phantasy Star Online and playing I'm thinking of another one too, man. Like, now there's games like MMOs and stuff like that. That's an RPG too.
Yeah.
Because do you consider that an RPG? Yeah.
Oh,
so
it's very much an RPG. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, just playing online with other people and working together, like, to finish quests and missions and all that stuff, RPG wise, because I don't consider Destiny an RPG. Do you consider Destiny an RPG?
It is very much an RPG.
Okay, well, all right. It's similar to, like, Phantasy Star, kind of.
Kind of.
Right?
It's less of an MMO than Phantasy Star, but it's still just as much of an RPG, just with, guns.
Okay. So, Pete, you should answer that question. Destiny. For you.
Right. Destiny.
For both questions, it's Destiny.
For both questions.
Okay.
So, that's RPG for me, and the technology-wise for me.
All right. So, I'm an RPG nerd, so I got to lay down the ground rules. I have to separate this into Japanese and Western. I cannot just pick one over the other. For Japanese, it's The World Ends With You on the Nintendo DS, which I still think is Square Enix's best Japanese RPG they ever made, because they just said, screw it, let's make something new and original. And my God, they killed it. It's still my favorite, not only DS game, but still my favorite Square Enix RPG ever. It's just
they have it on mobile.
Fun. And it's a mobile version too, exactly. And it really needs a sequel. Oh my God. Square, what are you doing? Make a sequel to this game, please. It's amazing. Go back and play it if you have it. Western, a lot of games can fight for that, but nothing's still topping Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is still one of the best written video game stories, or any fiction, and the best plot twist of all time. Straight up. Just didn't get better.
Since Empire Strikes Back.
So I played Knights of the Old Republic, and I was a big fan of that game on the original Xbox, so I'm not going to lie.
It's that good. And that gameplay held up so well. They made a sequel by Obsidian, which was great, even though it wasn't finished, and then went on to Jade Empire, another absolutely amazing BioWare game, and then Dragon Age. That engine got a lot of use from KOTOR. So then you go into advancements. So I guess I'm stealing Danny's answer, because I would have thought of something more technologically, hardware related. But you can't beat the online connectivity of other players. So I'm going to have to go back to my dark ages of high school and say World of Warcraft is by far one of the most fun games I've ever played in my life. And I don't ever really want to play it again, to be honest. But that when I played it was so much fun because of that social aspect. So I think if you had to just narrow it down, I agree with Danny. It's that online connectivity. It doesn't have to be an MMO by any means, but just the ability to play with other players online in an RPG, to work together to a common goal, or to fight each other. That is just the most fun I think you can have in a video game if you like RPGs. And that's just my opinion personally, because I still love competitive first-person shooters like crazy. I play Gears of War and Halo and Call of Duty all day. but having that sense of companionship and, building a guild and, like, being a fellowship, whatever nerdy phrases you want to use, like, you are accomplishing great things with your friends and you feel badass doing it. That's an amazing feeling. So World of Warcraft plays a huge part in that, in my opinion, of making that style of a mainstream cooperative online game popular that I think a lot of games took influence for, and I think kind of resulted in why Destiny is so damn fun. So I agree with Pete. I'm throwing Destiny in there too because that's a fun game.
And you're going to ask me what game designer technology? Inclusion of guns in RPGs.
So Fallout 3. Thank you, Fallout 3.
So Destiny.
There you go. Oh my god! Before we wrap it up, you know what was my wow moment for the first time playing like Phantasy Star Online back in the days? Like going to like the caves and then finding like the first boss battle with 4 players online. I was like, what? That is crazy. That was pre-voice. That was no voice. It was strictly keyboard typing. That's how we used to communicate with each other. Like, I had to put the controller down, get my keyboard from my Dreamcast, and type like, yo, give me an item or help me out here or look at a boss, look at an enemy. Man, dude, it was just crazy. I didn't even know how we put it off back then.
Like, hey, we did it with pointing and with guns and Destiny and Elite.
You shoot that thing over there until it's dead. And it's a really effective system.
Yeah. It drives me nuts sometimes, like, playing like Destiny, and I'm trying to communicate with somebody, and they just stay quiet. I'm like, hello? Hey, anybody? And
that was before they brought in team chat into the game. So you're still salty and you still fear Atheon, dude. You need to come around. You need to get over your fear and just play the game and accept it.
I do have a confession, though. You want me to tell you a confession? I hope you're ready for this. Listening to last week's episode
got you hype.
I'm not gonna front. It got me hyped.
Yes, you must accept Destiny as your Lord and Savior. Come on, let's go do this.
Yo, Deej is good. He's really good. I can't front. He is really, really good. For those who don't know, he's the community manager of Bungie. Go listen to episode 501. Paris did a great job with that interview, and Pete was supposed to be there, but we were having technical issues with it, so he couldn't join the interview. But Paris did it, and it came out good. But man, Deej, he did a great job with it, man. Props to him.
Very real.
Oh my God, Pete goes to our private chat.
Oh, immediately.
So Paris. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. All right, guys, head over to gamertagradio.com. Post your comments and feedback, or listen to our past episodes. Go to play.it. Share the episodes with your friends and family, everybody. Just spread the word and let them know to subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify if you have the beta and all that good stuff, man. Also, TuneIn Radio. You could check out our show there. Give us a call, 786-273-7GTR. That's 786-273-7GTR. Email us, fanmail@gamertagradio.com. So, you guys are still talking about this?
Just accept him. Come.
Wow, you got
to the church.
I got you hype, huh, Pete? I got you hype.
Come to the Church of the Taken King.
Except it works.
Oh my God! I think we gotta wrap it up. All right, guys. Until next week, live from New York City and hopefully London. We are out. Peace.
You're listening to Gamer Tag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week.